But the both of the two of you try to do less fidgeting.
Okay, all right. I think that's.
I just
I think
say,
that's a start. But you are doing a show with two notorious fidgeters, so there
get your
is
fidgets
that.
out now, Gaz. There you go. Get it out. Get it out.
Hey, everybody, here we are in the Tidbits Tower with the Bicker Buddies.
Did you start?
Tidbits. Yeah, it just started, man. We did the sound check for you. It's me, Tidbits Rob. Joining me, as always, in the Tidbits Tower is
Tidbits Mike. Hi, everybody. How are you this week?
as always. We gotta coax them to say it. We gotta coax them to say it. Who else is here?
Hey everybody, it's me, Gaz. How you doing?
It is Gaz. How you doing, Gaz? Hey, before we get into anything, I wanted to go through the mailbag. We got some more positive feedback. Everyone enjoyed it. There are a couple people who pointed out that I was saying Percy Shelley and not Piercy Shelley. It's Percy Shelley, not, I don't know, I was saying it wrong. But the correct way...
Is it supposed to be Percy?
Yeah, like Percy Jackson, but
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure, so I wasn't going to correct you. I'm like, oh, I guess I was wrong.
And then somebody was very curious to know if I truly had stuck the drums on repeat and couldn't figure out, or if that was performance art. And I felt the need to explain that it was truly a mistake, because these little sound effects I have up here, it says drums, big button that says drums, and there's this little teeny tiny infinity symbol, and if you hit that little infinity symbol, it plays over and over, and then... Wait, did you guys hear that?
Is that the drums?
No, it's not the drums. I think it's the door to the Tidbits Tower. Who could that be at the Tidbits Tower door?
I'm more upset that the guard is just letting anybody right up to the door. What?
Wait a minute. It's James Doherty. It's James Doherty here at the Tidbits Tower. Hey, James.
That was truly unexpected. Welcome, James.
Rob wanted me to say something really corny right now, and I'm going to refuse to do so.
Wait a minute, but wait. Wasn't it? I sort of sensed that maybe you had a tidbit to share, and you found yourself compelled to travel over hill and dale all the way to the North Pole where the Tidbits Tower resides. Is that true? Is that true?
I think that was the thing I refused to say, but I do have a tidbit to share. So
You do.
Hey.
Tidbit to share.
Hey.
So I think the first question is, do we let James go first?
Yeah,
or do we make James go last?
I think it's guest's choice.
Guest choice.
well, I want to make clear to all the pod listeners, the millions of folks out there, that I,
million.
the least talented member of this crew, I have zero artistic skills or actor skills or playwright skills. I mean, the only thing, I know Mike we were on the championship football team back in '94. He was the QB, I was the receiver. We led our teams to victory. So that's how
I remember that.
what I have,
Rob,
otherwise.
can you boost his volume?
Can I boost his volume?
Yeah, James is a little quiet.
Here's how we boost it up. James, be loud.
Pod listeners,
now
let's be clear. Remember here, I am humbled to even be invited, but I do have a tidbit to share. Are you ready?
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Is the sound better now?
That's
Yeah, it is.
amazing. That's much better. Yes. Perfect.
It started out as just another summer walk along the beach in North Wildwood, New Jersey. A man named Frank was out with his wife and granddaughter when he spotted something half buried in the seaweed. Nothing unusual, not driftwood shells. You saw that stuff on the beach all the time. This was different. It was an old bottle, greenish and scuffed, cork still in place. And inside, folded neatly, a note. Pried it open, unrolled the paper, and there it was. Greetings from Ireland. I've thrown this bottle into the sea for someone to find another day. Maybe it's traveled down to Africa or to Iceland. I don't know if anyone found this, but I hope it's found. Aoife. The note was dated July 17th, 2019. It was now 2023. Think about that for just a second. A letter from across the Atlantic, bobbing in the ocean for 4 years, now in his hands on a random beach walk. Of course, Frank and his wife were floored. They showed it around. Soon the story made the local news. A mystery woman named Aoife, somewhere in Ireland, had just crossed oceans with nothing but a scrap of paper and a glass bottle. And here's where it gets better. The story went viral. Within days, the mystery Aoife was found. Aoife Byrne from Bray, County Wicklow. She laughed when reporters called her. Just as a whim, she wrote it one summer, tossed it into the water, a childlike gesture. Never expected anyone to actually find it. Must left halfway across the world. Soon after, Aoife and Frank actually spoke on the phone, strangers brought together by a bottle, a tide, and a little luck. The whole thing felt like a fairy tale, written by the sea itself. One person tosses a thought out to the world. Years later, someone else catches it. My tidbit is that sometimes the smallest gestures, the ones you almost forget, can ripple outward and come back in ways you'd never imagine. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that type of tidbit?
No, I think that was fantastic.
What was this, an episode of Snap Judgment? This American Life just snuck in here? What's going on?
Gaz, hold on a second, Rob, if it's okay. Can I bring up something for a second? I thought very similarly that like back in let's see, it was October 3rd of 2019 when Gaz threw out his little ripples out to all of the world, where he posted on Facebook that he finally found the Final Wars version of Hedora at Walgreens. And he posted this in 9 different places. So clearly sending his ripple not just into one ocean, but his little message in a bottle into 9 different places. And it's a very special way to make his tidbits work all across the world.
Well, that my mind with this tidbit.
Was that a Facebook memory or something? What did they go so random? I think
so, yeah. He must have seen that on Facebook.
I'm not sure how I can share it here, but yes, indeed, on Facebook, yeah, you posted it in wonderful places such as Tahoe Kaiju Union and, many of your toy forums. I'm sure many of these are places where you do post as well.
Yeah, I have that figure right over there in my Godzilla case. I was very happy to find that.
That ripple, just out in the universe, just tidbitting around.
I'm angry at all the preface and the disclaimers you gave when you just presented the best tidbit any of us ever have. It was like a polished piece of work you've just given us.
It was a polished piece of work. Yes. I liked the drama you brought to it was something. I was kind of waiting for it to be like, and it was written by the Queen of England, but it was just some randos.
Yeah.
That's cool, sometimes randos are important.
Mike, do you have any places where you've thrown a ripple into the universe, similar in a tidbit type way?
Oh my gosh, my mind has gone blank.
I was thinking back on February 1st, 2018, when you posted on Instagram a bag of haggis and cracked black pepper potato chips. That was one of the things that I thought. You tossed that ripple into the universe and then just, did that ever come back to you?
Does everyone remember that? I feel like everybody remembers that time that I posted that one bag of potato chips. Actually, that flavor was quite good. British potato chips, English potato chips are better, and that one was okay. Although once I did eat a fried haggis, I do not recommend it. It was as if I had eaten a cinder block. And that is the tidbit I'm now throwing out into the world to ripple.
I wanna point out, and I know why. James is wearing a Fordham t-shirt, and kudos for wearing something from my alma mater. Although I know it's more than just my alma mater, if you want to talk about that.
So Rob, back in 2002, went to Fordham, and that ripple made that Seamus, my oldest, is now at Fordham, matriculating this year as well.
Wow. There you go. Well met. I also wanted to say, before James jumped right into his fantastic tidbit, I wanted to say that we all know each other from high school. James is a great old friend. I have known James since elementary school. Right around the corner from James's house was the best sled riding hill in town, and we would spend all winter at James's house and sled riding.
I'm not sure I can approve of us changing the format of the show and giving any context whatsoever to who any of us are or any explanation about anything. That's not how this show works. We just randomly start screaming into the microphone.
That was a good tidbit, James, and
I agree.
Thank you for joining us, because I know it was a really long walk over Hill and Dale to the North Pole.
Actually, I'm excited that James is here, because my tidbit, I feel like you may be able to help us out with.
So do you want to go next, Mike?
We'll go next.
Excellent.
All right, have at it.
Though we don't normally explain much about who any of us are, the town in which we grew up in is very close to the beach. And I don't know if any of you guys, did you spend a lot of time at the beaches growing up?
Sure did, Mike.
Sure, man.
Do you know what the term Bennies means?
Yes.
What?
It's people from New York that come down and clog everything up for us locals in the summer.
So you're partially correct. Does James, Rob, any idea what the term Bennies means? Nope.
I guess I also always assumed it had something to do with Bensonhurst.
So yes, it is a derogatory term that we Jersey Shore locals have for people who aren't Jersey Shore locals. But the meaning of it actually might be what Gaz said. It could possibly be basically they have a couple theories about how the term came about. Either it's referring to people from Bayonne, Elizabeth, Newark, and New York, which is funny that we consider that like much further north than where we live, which is basically 10 miles north of here. Those northerners. Because we're Middletown, New Jersey is not especially far down south. So that's one theory about why we call the people who come down to the shore Bennies, because of coming from Bayonne, Elizabeth, New York, or Newark. But the other theory is that it was wealthy people, particularly women, who had mental issues going on from New York.
And they're taking benzodiazepines.
Nope.
Good job almost stepping on his punch
They
line
live
again.
in, these are wealthy people from New York City. Wealthy people from New York City would send, I guess, or the wives would be sent by their wealthy husbands down to the shore when they're having mental issues to have beneficials. It was a beneficial thing to go out and get some sea air. And as I'm saying this, I should have probably written things down because I actually don't really know what I mean by mental issues. You know, women stuff. Women-y things.
She better go get some fresh air.
And finally, they think possibly the term bennies comes from people from out of town bringing their money to the shore. They're Benjamin Franklins, those $100 bills.
Benjamins.
And they throw around those bennies. So I don't know why us Jersey Shore natives, complain about that because that's good for us. But I will end with, we'll never actually know the true meaning or origin of the derogatory name bennies because you can't ask a Benny. They don't know. They're bennies.
This is great. It's just such a callback to your first tidbit. I love it.
It's a callback in terms of its kind of fizzle.
Like the literal verbiage was the same. It was.
Thank you, guys, for noticing.
Yeah, I did.
I noticed as well.
Thank you, James. I appreciate it. So,
Gaz, you want to go next?
I do, because mine is going to be the worst this week. So you should back clean up.
Did you literally just put this together 10 minutes ago?
Yes. We normally record every other week, and I forgot we were recording this week, and I was busy with stuff, and I was like, oh my God, I need a piece of trivia immediately. So
Get your shit together, man.
It's going to be short. Basically, let's talk about a great American filmmaker, and influencer and political activist and trailblazer in technology and storytelling. I, of course, am speaking of Orson Welles, George Orson Welles, who was born in 1915. He died in 1985, but he was with us for about 70 years, and he was a giant, both figuratively and literally. He was a large man with a large presence. He's most known for two things. One, for being the filmmaker who created Citizen Kane, which for many years has been at least anecdotally regarded as the greatest film of all time. Now, that can be debated, but what you can't debate is that it had a huge impact. There were new camera techniques that were made because as he would say, he didn't know what he didn't know. He just asked if they could do things, and they'd cut holes in floors and, make this whole new way of making films that was influential forever. And many of his films were very good. Later on, he did a lot of questionable stuff as an actor that wasn't so hot, but, he also was very big in radio. Specifically noteworthy is he did an adaptation of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds that was so realistic that people were running out of their houses thinking we were being invaded. This man was a giant. This man was on all the major talk shows. He spoke, people listened. He had a booming voice. He had a booming intellect. He was a political activist that was, very progressive and ahead of his time. And the cool thing is that it wasn't until just before his death, days before his death, that he finally fulfilled his true destiny by playing the planet-gobbling Unicron in Transformers the movie. A animated film that was released in 1986, but which he recorded his lines for in 1985. After that, but before his untimely heart attack, he had an interview. And this is his quote about this momentous role that capped off this grand life of art. He said, "You know what I did this morning? I played the voice of a toy. Some terrible robot toys from Japan that changed from one thing to another. The Japanese have funded full-length animated cartoon about the doings of these toys, which is all bad outer space stuff. I play a planet. I menace somebody called something or other, and then I'm destroyed. My plan to destroy whoever it is thwarted, and I tear myself apart. On the screen, Orson Welles on his final film performance."
That's actually pretty fantastic.
So I say it with jest, but as a kid who watched that movie and as an adult who still loves that movie, I loved that Orson Welles was Unicron. As a kid, it was just a nice, deep, booming voice. And then when I got older and got into him as a filmmaker and watched a lot of these movies and learned about him, I'm like, I kind of love that his last role was a planet in Transformers.
Yeah.
It's actually very funny that you explain that, because I knew Orson Welles from Transformers the movie, but I didn't realize he made Citizen Kane.
You didn't know? Oh, it's so good that, see, we're learning. We're laughing and we're learning.
I'm going to check that out.
I like that Orson Welles had an untimely death at 80 in 1985.
70. Well, it was untimely because it was a heart attack due to poor health, and it wasn't. You're right that he wasn't exactly a spring chicken, but
my math was bad.
If he was healthier,
70 is not that old. Never mind.
Did you just remember how old you are? James is 69, just so everyone knows.
That's a really perfect example of like phenomenal actors who like their last performance is like something completely weird. And I know there's better examples than this. I know
better examples than this. I don't think so.
Maybe not.
Other examples, but better. No,
there are other examples. Like I know the guy, he played Superman's dad.
Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando did something weird.
Island of Dr. Moreau. No, that wasn't his last though.
But that it was like worse than that. And I know Michael Caine just came out of retirement and he's like 90 and he's going to do like Fast and the Furious or some shit with The Rock. Like, that's going to be, I have a good example. Fred Astaire, the great giant of dance and silver screen and musical theater. His last performance was Xanadu. The movie Xanadu from the 80s had Olivia Newton-John. It was really like disco 80s pop. It was silly. It's kind of awesome in a weird way. But
that's what I remember. Sorry, this Transformers movie from 1986 is universally good or good to Graz?
It is good to Transformers fans.
I mean, I love Transformers. I'm wondering if I should go back and watch this now.
Did you never see it when you were a kid?
I can't remember now. Like, I've seen all the new Transformers movies for so long. I watched a lot of Transformers. I just feel like I don't remember. Well, I didn't catch that Orson Welles was Unicron.
I was a Transformers fan, and I'm going to tell you that movie was not universally loved. That movie was traumatizing.
Well, be careful, because if he hasn't seen it, let someone enjoy it. No, Rob, stop talking. You have a chance to let someone enjoy a movie who hasn't seen it, and you're like, let me ruin it for you.
Wait a minute, James. Do you care in your soul if I spoil the first 10 minutes of Transformers the movie?
I think there's a rule that movies over 40 years old, you don't have to say spoiler alert anymore.
That's fair, except if you're about to watch it, if you're like, I'm about to watch this movie, shouldn't he not tell you things in the movie?
I feel like I'm going to add to it, but it's James's call. James, do you want to hear it? All right, that's a thumbs up. In the first 10 minutes of the movie, all the main characters get killed. Just killed.
Why would you do that? Now the movie's ruined. Gaz, why did you warn me? Gaz, why did I say yes? Why did I agree to that? Mike, help me out here.
Yes, Rob, come on.
And Optimus Prime dies. I mean, like, that was the first time I don't know, threw my shoe through a television set.
No, James, it made some kids sad, but it was generally well liked by kids and Transformers fans. As an adult, I don't know if you'd enjoy it. I'm a big kid, so I enjoy it, but I will say, as a piece of animation, it holds up. It like the animation is really nice on that.
The soundtrack is great. It's got Weird Al Yankovic.
It's very dated 80s, but it is quintessential 80s.
How is our tidbit not that the 1996 Transformers movies had both Orson Welles and Weird Al Yankovic in the same movie? Like,
that is a good tidbit.
Well, he didn't do a voice. It was okay. Weird Al didn't do a voice in the Transformers movie.
Don't spoil it.
But he had one of his songs, but it was Dare to Be Stupid, which I'm not sure if was written specifically for the movie, whereas most of the other music was. However, years later in Transformers Animated, Weird Al did play Wreck-Gar when he was reinvented as a garbage truck. So
you are just filled with tidbits.
I guess.
It was likely not written for the movie because it makes no sense in the context of the movie.
Most of the other music was written for the movie. I think that was just when they got somehow.
Well, that was great. Yeah. I think that was all the time we had. We vote on the tidbits now and we move on?
All right, bye, guys.
Yeah. I'm torn between Mike and James. It's tough.
Wait a minute. I got my tidbit, and I'm a little bit embarrassed because it's like a traditional, really well-crafted tidbit. It's not as silly and off the cuff as... But,
so we changed the mood a little bit here.
Okay, bring it home, buddy.
It's a good one. I think it's a good one. Here we go.
Do you have a mood-changing vignette? Is there a song that changes the mood for us that kind of helps us?
Na, na, na. Super na na na, heavy drama, super drama, na 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 na, with Rob.
Wow. Okay. So in the early 1900s, there was a highly respected physician. He was an MD from the University of Edinburgh. He's named Dr. Doyle. His name isn't widely remembered now, but in his time, he was very influential. He encountered various medical challenges that influenced his perspectives of public health, and he wrote about them a lot. And so he, was in newspapers and books. For instance, he was involved in treating typhoid fever in the Second Boer War. And he was a big factor in advocating for mandatory vaccines because he saw these soldiers being devastated by typhoid, even more than combat. And he helped kind of spread the idea of the importance of immunization in public health. And because of that, Dr. Doyle was knighted in 1902 by King Edward. He was known for being analytical. He was observant. He was well-trained. He could diagnose subtle illnesses that eluded lesser minds, like think Dr. House, MD. City, but in like King Edward's England, right? So people trusted him. And then in 1917, he falls for something you wouldn't expect. There were these two young cousins. They were like 16 and 10-year-old girls. And they claimed they had photographed real fairies in their garden. And newspapers picked up the story. The public was enchanted. And Dr. Doyle just glommed onto that. And he was convinced, and he wrote this big book about the coming of the fairies to support these claims. And spiritualists, like people into supernatural stuff, started to point to Dr. Doyle as proof that the world was full of unseen wonders. By the way, as a side note, decades later, these girls, they admitted it was a hoax. They said they had kind of created cardboard cutouts that they staged in their garden to fool adults. But at the time, Dr. Doyle, who was this trained skeptic and great at deduction in medicine, he was one of those fooled adults. But getting back to it, he gets really deeper into the supernatural. He loses his wife, and it kind of leads him more into supernatural stuff. He joins the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which was a secret society into the occult and metaphysics and paranormal. And he writes books about spiritualism, and he helps kind of spread spiritualism and like kind of supernaturalism. He was a big advocate of mediums. He became friends with Harry Houdini, and he basically befriended him because he was hoping Harry Houdini could kind of help him prove that there was a bridge between the living and the dead. But ironically enough, Harry Houdini was a skeptic. He was a big, huge skeptic, and he was really keen on pointing out that his art was skilled sleight of hand and stagecraft and not like actual supernatural magic. So even though they became really good friends, they famously started to feud, and their friendship fell out, and they became bicker buddies. But it buried the lead again. Here's the big thing. I mentioned that this trained doctor had been knighted by the king, right? So he was a sir. And technically, I don't know if you guys know this, Mike might know this because his family is British, but the knighthood title of sir supersedes the title of doctor in formal address. And after he was knighted, he started adding his double-barreled surname Conan because he was proud of his Irish hair. Yeah, Conan the Barbarian. So he was a sir, and he was actually known worldwide as Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Famous creator of Sherlock Holmes, who is, still by today's standards, the most famously logical character. Sorry, Mr. Spock. Sherlock Holmes was a rationalist. He was an empiricist. He was a skeptic. He was anti-mystical. He was into forensics. He was into deduction. He was the embodiment of reason, almost a caricature of anti-spiritualism. And yet the guy who created him was like going to seances and like telling everybody fairies and ghosts existed. So this doctor of medicine, this knight, this creator of Sherlock Holmes, the most logical detective in the world, utterly duped by cardboard fairies, embroiled in a bitter fight over ghosts with the greatest illusionist of his time and arguably of all time, which just shows that even the sharpest minds can be swept away by a desire to believe in a little magic, unless maybe he was right.
I was just waiting for you to be like, and it turned out it was the Queen of England, but that's okay.
There was a king in the story.
I do like how that tied into mine from last week a little bit with the spiritualism and the fraud and that kind of stuff.
You mean stole from your idea, I guess?
I'm not saying stole, heavily borrowed.
I did.
We'll call it an homage.
Yeah, homage.
Thievery is the best form of flattery, right?
I did not know that about Arthur Conan Doyle. That was a good bit.
I mentioned Dr. House. Are you guys aware that House was based on Holmes?
Yes.
His sidekick was Dr. Wilson, opposed to Dr. Watson. They're both like, skeptics and into, solving puzzles
and drugs.
And drugs. They both did drugs. You're right. So I thought that was kind of cool because Dr. Doyle's, practice in medicine informed the creation of Sherlock.
Right.
And then Sherlock informs the creation of this character who's doing medicine. Yeah. And that's all I got. That's all.
Almost like a ripple thrown out into a bottle into the ocean. It just comes back around.
And so it's exciting. We've got 4 of us here today, so when we vote, we could have a tie.
Just like always.
Mathematically, it's impossible, Mike. I don't understand what you're talking about.
I had another secret to tell you guys.
Secret?
I had a secret.
What was the first secret?
The first secret was that it was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I don't know.
Okay.
The real secret is that a lot of people were like, hey, I have an idea of what you guys should bet on. And I took my 6 favorites, and I'm going to roll a die, and whoever wins gets whatever that prize is.
I thought we were voting, and whoever won got money or something.
Yeah, we're not doing money. That's it. We're going to vote.
Yeah.
But whoever wins, I roll the die to see what they get.
Okay. I love the professionalism of this podcast. Yes.
For sure. I also love that it's the third installment and you've already abandoned. What did you call it? There used to be a thing where you'd say
the follow-ups or whatever that Mike invented.
Follow-up. I loved that. I kind of missed it this time round. Like we just jumped in. There should have been
we'll bring that
what are your
back.
follow-ups?
We'll reboot that next time.
Well, here's my follow-up to James. James, that felt, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but it felt like scripted, like you had worked on it and it wasn't just off the cuff. Was that just off the cuff? But if not, and assuming I'm correct, did you write that yourself, or were you reading from an article, or what?
I was under a lot of pressure. Rob told me like 19 things that I was supposed to accomplish, and gave me a lot of, kept following up and asking me if I was okay and if I was ready, and I was like, this had a lot more seriousness to me than I thought about it. I better write something down. And then I timed it. I'm like, it's 1 minute and 53 seconds. Is that too long? It was a very like.
He did text me exactly how much time it took, and I said, beef it up a little.
Well, there's also, hey, James, now that you're on the show, again, and good job. That was not a criticism. Mike has been pushing for us to all have shorter bits, and Rob has been like, let's have longer bits. So you kind of hit the middle tidbit area. I think you did just
Rob
fine.
Also concocted this whole secret thing because he was afraid I was going to ask you or Mike for advice, and then he wouldn't be able to control my, out throughput. Yeah, so I did write it ahead of time. And then, again, I also felt like you guys are so good at this. I felt like I really needed to step up my game to make sure I was at least not failing miserably as the first guest ever. Hey, wait.
You definitely did.
Is that Rob? Is there knocking at the Tidbit Tower door? Is there? Who's coming next? There's nobody. I'm just kidding.
Wait.
I thought that was a sound file Rob was playing. That was you.
This is how much we polish this. Rob and I did like 5 or 6 dress rehearsals of this. You got it going. It's a.
Meanwhile, 40 minutes ago, I was like, you guys, I don't have a tidbit.
I knew you'd come through, though. Transformers, the movie from 1986. I think all of the tidbitters out there are going to be fascinated to know more about that movie.
Honestly, part of my problem was I could think of lots of trivia that no one would care about. That was my biggest problem.
I think the format of the tidbit makes me I can care about almost anything for a tidbit.
Yeah. James, you could be our marketing person. I think you got a handle on this.
Now I kind of want the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Rob just mentioned that offhand like it was a thing we're all supposed to know what the hell it is.
Yeah, isn't that the coolest name of all time? I want to join the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. It sounds like something out of like a fantasy novel.
It sounds like a paladin.
Tomorrow we all go get tattoos, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn right here. And then people can ask about it and you can be like, it's the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. You know.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, James, who's your vote? You can't vote for yourself. Oh,
James is looking to the sky, maybe looking to the heaven.
I'm going to go with Gaz because I can't stop thinking about the 1986 Orson Welles Omicron.
Yeah, I get it. I think I'm going to go with, I don't know. It's between James and Gaz, only because I like James's because it was so, it was like poetry. It was like poetry.
It was very well written.
But I think I got to go with my roots, which is Transformers fan from way back. So I think I'm going to go with Gaz, but fantastic job, James. Close runner up, like right there, man. Mike, who's your vote for?
You know what? I'm also going to vote for Gaz. Let's give him an overwhelming win.
Wow. All right.
We've now taught Gaz to never prepare. What we've learned is that preparation's a horrible thing, and that could only go right. So only.
I have 2 pages of notes, which I spent like an hour writing up yesterday, but that's great. That's great. It's great, Gaz. It's great that you won.
So, Gaz, you vote.
I think can I give a 3-way tie to all 3 of you? I think that's
that's so great.
That's great, everybody.
Nice. Yeah. That's really nice. I mean, I spent way more time than anybody, but that's cool. It's really sweet.
All right, then I'll give it a 2-way tie to Mike and James.
All right, fair. That's totally fair.
There's no way you spent more time than me, Rob. It was like you sent me this like, hey, it's a lark, it'll be funny, and then you sent me like 19 texts of like what I was supposed to do and how I was supposed to approach it, and then it got very stressful.
Let this be a lesson to any future guests.
I was trying very hard to make it so you wouldn't be stressed out by stressing you out.
Don't talk over anybody, James.
Well, that's just rude. We all talk over everybody. You're going to hold James to a higher standard than the rest of us?
I did tell him unless it's hilarious, and then say it. Anyway, I'm going to roll the dice and see what we got. You guys see, we got a little tower here.
Ooh, that's cool.
2. Oh, that's what I wanted. Okay, so this is a weird one. But Gaz,
yes.
Here's what you've won.
What have I won?
You select Mike or I. Now, come next week, before we get started, you choose one word that person cannot say when they do their tidbits, or they automatically lose. So you can say, don't say unostentatious, or you could say don't say and, or don't say my, or don't say they. Just to make it really hard.
The word is
No, you can't tell us now because then we can rehearse. Don't.
Doesn't matter. You're still going to say it. The word is
Okay, so are you doing it to me or my?
Well, we know Mike's
are
not
you
going to
ready
rehearse ahead of time, so it's not a problem for Mike.
I didn't rehearse. I did write it.
To be fair, I misunderstood. I thought I was supposed to. You said I have to choose now, so I chose now. But you meant the person.
You choose the person now.
Okay, Rob, I choose you, and I'll let you know the word next week. It's gonna be.
I'm gonna practice all week. Not saying. Do I say a lot?
Everybody does. That's why I chose it. It's a no-win. This is Kobayashi Maru. Good luck.
Well, I'm gonna beat the Kobayashi Maru, and I'm gonna sit there eating a green apple, like all pompous, because I'll know I have beaten it.
A green apple, sour apple.
I just said not is okay? Is that all right? That's not
We can argue about that next week.
All right, I think that's
Back
fair.
here on Tidbits.
There's one other piece of mail I promised I would say. Tidbit Dory wanted us to bring up her name because she wants to be famous.
Okay.
And this is the route to fame.
She was one of the few people who were really excited to know James was going to be coming in. So, James, there are fans out there really excited about hearing you. And I know there's even many more, millions more, who had no idea you'd be showing up. And it's just going to be a pleasant surprise for everybody.
And I love that surprise. I love James. And I'll give a shout out to Dory. Look, now I'm saying her name as well.
Congratulations, Dory, on that huge win.
Dory threw a bottle into the ocean, and it really came back to her, I think, just now.
That was her ripple that went out the world and came back.
All right, guys, I think it was a fun tidbits.
Yeah.
Everything that's happened.
Good to see you, James.
With the bicker buddies.
James.
And James.
With the bicker buddies. And James, you're a bicker buddy. Yeah. He's a bicker buddy. All right.
It's great to see you guys. I had no idea there was a video component of this audio podcast.
It could easily be a video podcast too, but no, it's not.
Hanging out around a table in the Tidbits Tower.
And it seems gigantical scenes pouring in from your outer dreams, wrinkle mental stuff in your own study hut.